give us the product or the material of the desired quality. Yeah, so I would say 50% Sony, 50% Kakera. We produce neutral spirit, which is a lower grade than the extra neutral spirit, which is our principal product now. At the moment, the local industry, they are able to service us. At least we are getting all our requirements from the local sugar industries. Yeah. We are producing spirit and bake assist. Yeah. Bake assist, we have other products out of it. We have wet yeast. And from the spirit side, we are doing bottling today. We are producing, we are doing our own bottling for Patriot gin. Very soon we will be going for Patriot vodka.
The other strategic thing which we have seen, which we have more or less led the industry into doing, is the whole issue of diversifying. For the longest time, the industry has been more or less a mono-product industry. So we've been talking about production of sugar only. Now, we do appreciate that cane stock, once it gets into the mill, it can produce so much more than just sugar. So in terms of our diversification program within the industry, we have seen millers enter into new areas. So we have millers going into distillation. They're putting up distilleries, they're putting up refineries, and they're also going into cogeneration, which is basically producing electricity by using one of the byproducts called bagasse. Of course, this is green, reliable, and clean energy. So those are some of the areas that we are looking at in terms of, and already gone into, in terms of just trying to diversify within the industry itself.
So the future for Sony is in diversification because the cane raw material is secure. What we need is funding, and we'll be off to a new, what would you call, a new life with diversified products. But even if that is delayed, we are also looking at really securing our factory as well by investing more in it, modernizing it, automation. We are also looking at the byproduct molasses, which we currently sell as a byproduct. There are so many other downstream products that can be made from molasses. So that's another area we are looking at getting someone to partner with to develop those products. But for the time being, even before that is done, we are looking at working on that product and converting it to kind of a supplement which we can sell on our retail shelves. So that project is actually being progressed at the moment.
We started off in the year 2008, the first crushing at 1,650 tons cane per day. And by 2014, we had expanded that one to 3,500. We started with a 3 megawatt cogen, and now we have established another 15 megawatt cogen. And next to it, we are establishing the Kibos Paper and Packaging Limited. That one will be producing about 150 tons of paper and pulp per day. Our basic material for production is sugar cane. And that sugar cane, we produce sugar with it, produce power. It's our raw material for the pulp and paper. And then the waste that comes from the sugar mill is our molasses. Molasses is a byproduct. It's our main product for the ethanol factory. And for the fertilizers, which we will be producing downstream, the raw material is the filter mud from the sugar mill and the vinasse from the distillery. So at the end of the day, everything will be, there will be no waste. And by doing that, we'll be efficient in our environmental management.
Research is one key that can help unlock the true potential of the Kenyan cane industry. The Sugar Research Institute, headquartered in Kisumu, is the country's leading cane research body.
KARU was created through an Act of Parliament of 2013. That is Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Act of 2013. But the organization became operational or started operations on 1st July 2014. KARU has 16 institutes, research institutes, of which Sugar Research Institute is one. Traditionally, we've dealt with sugar cane as a crop of sugar, but our mandate has been expanded to include other sugar crops. We are looking at crops like sugar beet, crops like stevia, and sweet sorghum, which can provide, which would provide alternatives for sugarcane. Although at this particular point in time, we've not done a lot of it, so that they should not be seen as a threat to sugarcane. But our mandate is to explore possibilities of also producing sugar from those crops. Sugar and energy, for example, especially when you're referring to sweet sorghum. It is recorded that you can get upwards of 100 products from sugarcane. It's only that as an industry in Kenya, we have not exploited the full potential.
When we go into issues research, I'd like to point out that part of the difficulties that we've had and the challenges that we've had in the industry is the varieties that we have grown in the industry over the years. We've tended to grow old varieties whose attributes are rather lackluster. I mean, you don't quite get certain of the positive attributes that you'd want in a particular variety. I'd like to report that between 2002 up to now, as an industry, we've already come up with 21 new varieties, which essentially have certain of those positive attributes that we're looking for, ranging from early maturing, high sucrose content, pest resistance and disease resistance, and very good yields. So those are some of the main issues that we've been able to achieve over this period along the value chain.
At the heart of Kenya's sugar industry is the farmer. Given the high local and international demand for sugar, can Kenya's cane farmers make a living from this cash crop? We interviewed several of them.
Miwa imenisaidia sana. Mimi ni mama mchane. Nimeelimisha watoto wangu. Wengine hata wamemaliza degree. Wengine colleges. Kuna mmoja amefanya sahi anafanya masters.
It's from sugar that I make my living. I left a permanent job in 1980. From that time hitherto, my life has depended entirely on sugarcane. Though we have had other crops like we plant sweet potatoes. Maize is particularly for consumption. But actually, it is sugar that earns me cash. That I can do whatever I want with it, school fees, and the rest of other requirements, including even the putting up of this house.
But despite the enormous potential of this cash crop, there are some aspects of the sugar business that are not so sweet. Challenges to the farmers include delays in payments, poor infrastructure, and inadequate funding.
We don't have good roads of transporting the cane
up to the factory, because there were some roads which, if the tractor loads about 9 or 10 tons, after passing the farm, you find the road is very bad. There are a lot of potholes, so some sugarcanes are just dropping.
The roads are in poor state, and this is what is resulting to what is happening. Tractors are overturning, so this making actually holding costs to be a little bit higher. And as a company, we make losses on such. Reloading of cane has to be done, and that is a loss to both farmers and the company at large.
Challenges to millers include the high cost of equipment, maintenance, and overheads. Other challenges include cane poaching, whereby contracted cane is sold to others who had not invested in it, poor farming methods like burning cane or cutting it too high up the stem. But all things considered, private millers are outperforming public companies by a large margin. We traversed the country talking to both public and private stakeholders.
Since we came here and started production in 2011, we are now 5.5 years in production. And within those 5.5 years production, the livelihood of the people around here have totally changed because they have ready market for their crop. Secondly, we pride ourselves to have been the first miller to start paying farmers on a weekly basis. And we are proud to say that since we started production in 2011 to date, our farmers have been paid on a weekly basis. Our transport fleet is about 200 tractors. And we also recently acquired trucks. We currently have a fleet of 7 trucks, which is a model we're starting trying to be quite economical in especially areas that are far from the factory, because our tractors would do an average of about 8.5 tons, and the trucks are able to do an average of 25 tons, so it becomes more economical to transport from far distances using the trucks.
We have about 60 high payload trucks that carry about 25 tons of cane from the cane collection centers. That is Kibos's innovation, and most of the other sugar companies have taken it up. Kibos also has brought the farm gate to the farmer, so we are buying much closer to the farmer than all the other millers. The other millers expect the farmers to take their crop to the factory, but because we are taking it to the farm gate, we are able to get more, and we are able to encourage more farmers to produce cane. And I remember, like for example, the farmers in Shikunga area used to transport their cane to Mumias, but they stopped producing cane because the cost of transportation was too high for them, so they gave up on the crop. But when we put our cane weighing station there, they have now gone back to the production of sugar cane. The same thing with farmers from Nandi, the same things with farmers from Kericho. So by bringing the cane weighing stations next to them, their transportation costs terminate at that place. That is almost like their sugar mill. So the rest of the costs are borne by Kibos Sugar, and we consider that as part of our social responsibility to our farmers.
Normally, we are crushing under around 1,500 to 1,800 tons per day. Now we don't have our nucleus farm. We are drawing cane from the farmers. Few farmers developing cane on their own, and we are also giving facilities to enable the farmers to grow cane, like we are giving them tractors for flowing, harrowing, furrowing. All these equipments we are giving them at a very reasonable price. to motivate the farmers.
Homalime basically deals with the manufacturing of lime, and Masawetu deals with agriculture, which is cane, livestock, and forestry. Homalime as an institution has quite a bearing on the community because many people, locals and outsiders, are employed here. We have on average a staff of over 650. We have a relationship with Koru Mission Hospital where we are actively involved in trying to manage the health of the Homalime staff and the community. We are involved in cleaning the market. We have a staff dedicated to collect all the polythene bags in Koru and cleaning and burning rubbish around Koru. We are involved in maintaining the road network within Koru. To a certain extent, before the main tarmac road was done, we are also involved in managing that.
Homalime is this area. Without Homalime, this area would be dead. I don't know how to quantify it in terms of money, but without Homalime, I don't think there'd be anything around here.
In contrast to the private millers who are enjoying the sweet taste of profit, some government-owned sugar companies are struggling to stay afloat. Muhoroni and Miwani government-owned companies, both located in the Nyando sugar belt, are currently under receivership. We spoke to the receiver managers.
We have been set here by government to manage all these assets. First and foremost, to protect any pilfering, anything that's adverse to the investment here. And then, of course, do an investment that is worthwhile to government. If we're able to pay the debt, because that's the basis why this company is under receivership, then that is it, through the normal business operations.
The government has shown its willingness to move out of the industry through privatization and allow private millers to come in. I think that's the way to go. It will help people and help millers develop new initiatives to improve the industry.
Chemilil Sugar, another government-owned company, is not under receivership but is facing the challenge of working with outdated technology in a tech-savvy world.
The equipment we have here was 1967. We have been doing some maintenance on it, and it has been running like this, but the efficiency has gone down. Right now we are around 70% efficiency on this machine. AFA has been giving us loans for annual maintenance. Like as I have said, we received some loan recently for this year's annual maintenance. That is around 265 million. This factory is labor intensive because automation is very, very minimal. It's almost zero. So every